Okay, let's jump into things. It's just a scratch before 10:30, 10:29. What's this? First of the month. There we go. It's new month ticking on. So the last couple of months of the year we're sort of getting into now. Look, I'll start off with DXY because this is the driver of things, as we sort of know, and really this is what everybody's been really pumping along for a while. If we just sort of have a little recap of sort of what the thoughts were sort of coming into the weekend, and that was that obviously we've got this large range, it's broken down, come back in, broken down. At the stage, I think the weekend was, yeah, just around here kind of thing. And this is my feeling, as you can see, up, and then I do think we'll get sold into. But I did feel we have this up move coming. It did sort of falter a little bit and retest this bottom level here. So I've almost sort of got a new little support stuck in there. And the thing is with this, sort of, you've got this big range. You've got this smaller, tighter range in that it broke down, unable to see, get the retest and continue coming down. Second time, unable to get the continuation and break down. Like that's three attempts down here. So, although you've got, yes, the range break and all this kind of stuff, you got to sort of think that sometimes you got to sort of, I think that they call it an audible in American football. You just got to change the play based on what's presented to you. It's not sort of like, okay, here's the range, we've broken it. Now, okay, yes, we're definitely going down here. Look, I do believe that we are coming down here, but as I've said a couple of times, and if you watch the videos more recently as well, I do believe that we've got to move up here first to then sort of come back down. And this is what we're starting to see here. So really what you sort of got to sort of see with this is you got the range break that have tried to go down three times now, rejected each time, and now it's five back up, and this looks a little bit more sustainable, this one here. And reason being sort of with this is that sort of like people are trying to short this thing and it's just not working. The buyers are just sort of overrunning them and pushing up here. People are going to de-risk. They're going to go, look, I'm short the US dollar because I thought it was going to coming down to these price targets. Trying it. Well, hold on, wait. It's not getting there. Look, let me sort of pull back a little bit, de-risk a bit on the sort of US dollar shorts, and that adds to buying when you're sort of de-risking those short positions. So we've seen it sort of push back up here. So interesting point of where it is right now as well is that we had this little falling resistance, which this goes back to. You could probably almost sort of drag this. No, I don't like that. Goes back to 19th, so better part of 2 weeks. This falling resistance, you can see the sellers pushing down, pushing down, pushing down, pushing down, trying to really sort of force this drive down to the bottom side here to get this break to the downside, and it just hasn't come. And now you can see that what the sellers that was trying to sort of hold this point, get the arrows out. The sellers that were trying to sell here, sell here, sell here, 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 here. Even one last ditch effort here. They're just not able, for whatever reason, to push it down, and we've come back up through there. So, again, it's not out of the woods, but it just means it's not breaking down as of yet. Look, this is still the line you want to see get taken out. If this gets taken out, that's a confirmation because we can see buyers have been sitting here, buyers sitting here, buyers sitting here. Once we see it come down and test this level again, whether it goes through this path that was sort of mapped out here and said, like, we take out the lows and we can see an absence of buyers sitting at this level, then we're going to see our price targets get hit. But for now, this is a failed breakdown and it's pushing back up. And this is what will lead to like a bit of a squeeze because you get people that are de-risking and so they're taking their positions off. So if they're taking their sort of shorts off, they need to buy back those positions. And that's why it's driven up here. You've also got the people that are short and they're like, nah, I'm going to ride it because you know what? We are coming down here. Well, they're either going into drawdown if they've sort of bought these sort of positions, have waited for the break and that and bought these positions here, or they're eating into their profits. Because, I mean, look, if you're short from all the way up here and you haven't touched anything, you're not stressed. That's fine. But the thing is, a lot of people aren't. Look at the chop through these areas here. There's a lot of people that have been adding to shorts. So this has been just an absolute free-for-all. I mean, you can just tell by all the sort of drawings across this chart. This has been just like back and forth tussle of the market. So there's a lot of people that would be short through these periods here. And even if you're short from the top side of this little range that we've been in for the better part of a month, now you're eating into your profits and you're going to think, oh, geez, where do I jump out? Like, where do I go, look, you know what? I'd rather walk away with this trade with something rather than nothing. And they're sort of getting squeezed in these positions. And that's what the short squeeze is. The short squeeze is them sort of like going, oh, geez, I can't take it, I can't take it, I can't take it. They get squeezed out, bang, and then they'll drive they'll drive the move down. Because again, look, if you're wanting to sell US dollar and you know the rates are coming down, we know this. I haven't looked at the yields, but I think the yields may have actually been pushing up a little bit, which would coincide with this little short-term move here. But all in all, it's all sort of painting a picture of lower, weaker US dollar in the long term. However, it doesn't mean that you can't sort of move up here and then sell it down here. If we go back to, where was it? I think it was this point down here where I was saying that, look, you know, same sort of thing. It's coming down. Look at the sort of steepness of this sell-off here. And I was saying at the time, you know, why sort of short it from here when you can drive it up here and then short it from here? You know what I mean? So that's what we'll sort of see. It's a combination. It's not just one segment of the market that's sort of going, yep, okay, let's push this up. You are probably getting people going, you know what, the story isn't as bad as we thought, like, you know, with the US data. And, you know, maybe it's worth a buy down here. You're at, I think, like, definitely past yearly lows, because remember, this is the yearly open. Yearly open's all the way up here. Well, I say all the way, it's not that far, it's 104, so not too far up. But the point is, you know, it's been a lot higher. So, you know, if we look at this on a yearly sort of thing, you know, there was people buying up US dollar over here. All of a sudden, this looks like a pretty good, pretty good risk reward purchase. If they think there's sort of like, you know, there's some room for some growth, or maybe that the market sort of just overreacted to get it down to these levels. So, you know, does that segment of the market, the short squeeze people, the people that were short taking profits, all those sort of factors sort of saying, okay, maybe we could see a little bit of a drive up here. So this is the plan to sort of move up here. We've got this big falling resistance. We can sort of carry through here. So there's a lot of areas in which, you know, we can see on the chart, you know, historically, you know, recent history, as to where this may sell down. It's been so choppy through here, but looking at the most recent sort of areas of interest, let's drag this down, is going to be this area here, which was the top side of that little range, where we can see sellers were quite sort of happy to sort of hold it down this bottom half here. This is going to be an area of interest. And then up above that, of course, depending the speed of it, the falling resistance, that's going to be a big one. And then, I mean, this one will actually be as well. So what I might do with this, I'll just copy this here and then here. There are your four real areas. Yeah, but I mean, look, this could provide a little bit of pushback and then push through. This could provide pushback and then push through. I think if you do get through the falling resistance of all these ones here, falling resistance and excuse me, and this 102 area, if you break these two, they're the ones that I'm really kind of interested to see what the market does around there. These ones are more into like sort of smaller sort of channels. I mean, this was a fairly strong one across here. And it's very tight. This area gets very bit choppy over here. So I'll clean up the charts a little bit so we've got a better idea moving forward. But the idea is that you may potentially see a bit of a sell down here. What I think will happen, and this is just based on trading DXY for a while, is that we'll sort of get a push up here. We'll get a push down. People will be like, yep, sold it here, sold it here, sold it here, sold it here. That's what DXY does. Looks like it's about to fail. People will be like, yep, cool, add to the shorts, get back down here. May come back here a little bit, but then it'll jam through. DXY has a habit of sort of really looking like it's about to fall over, roll over, and then steamrolling through. So it really likes to play these kind of games. So I would sort of definitely say that, look, we could be looking at 101.50 back up around this sort of year. Again, look, it depends the speed, but basically wherever we hit this falling resistance, you're coming back up to that yearly open again for a test over there. And that's kind of my feeling that we may sort of see something like this. I think that falling resistance will play its part. But should we go through that, then of course we've got this top half of this part of the range, and then we've got this green section up here, which is a previous strong support area, which we can see through these areas over here. Which it's really been dancing underneath here. You go above 102, then, you know, we've got this other price target up over here. which gives us a top end target as well. But we'll get to that when we get to that. The here and now, I feel, is that we'll probably be seeing a little bit of sort of US dollar pushing through here, which coincides, as I said, with little things like the Aussie sort of cooling off a little bit. Metals have been cooling off a little bit. Um, so I do believe we'll see a little bit of a push up here. I believe it'll look like a little bit of it, like it's going to roll over, fake out, and then it'll jam through again. So I'm not sort of quick to sort of jump on dollar shorts as we come into this area here. I want to see quite a strong reaction down here because I believe that this will have a couple of waves to it to come up to this area over here, 105, 101.50. This area over here, then I'd be looking to sort of not necessarily jump on the dollar shorts because again, it could just see another move like this. It could sort of come up like this and then pull back and then charge through again. And we could see another wave come up through here. And this is how short squeezes work. People get short, we squeeze them, bang, take them out. They put their stops above this area because you know what? We've seen selling, 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 selling here. So they'll put their stops here, they'll drive it up, they'll hit all those stops and go to the next one. And it'll go on and on like this. So I do believe we'll see a bit of a continuation of this kind of move through here. This is the area, 101.50 I'm interested in, and 102.20. They're the real big ones. If we get 102.20, you're going to see a lot of people change in their way of talking. They're going to be saying, oh, the wrecking ball's coming and all this kind of sort of stuff. And we could see a strong continuation of US dollar because remember, a lot of this move here is basically the market pricing in the idea that we were going to get rate cuts. This whole move through here was the idea that rate cuts are coming, rate cuts are coming, rate cuts are coming, rate cuts are coming, and then bang, rate cuts came. Well, what do we do now? You know what I mean? We didn't sort of see another big move down to sort of 96. So, you get the people that go boom and they take their they cool off over here. But this is why I feel that we are still going down over here is because the story hasn't actually changed. You're just getting these short to medium term flows where people will sort of like de-risk a little bit, short squeeze, as I keep saying. And this provides a little bit of a position up through here. And then we can continue on, the main story, the main picture, which is coming down to the downside over here. So yes, for me at the moment, I'm looking for some short-term sort of DXY moves up. So a little bit of sort of, risk-off themes around the market. And then, as I said, probably two waves of this minimum, and up around this falling resistance is where I think we're really going to see some action to sort of see how deep this leg is going to come. Because if it does come up here, we are going to see a reaction. It's just a matter of, is it going to retest this level over here and use that as a launch pad to sort of go through? So that's a question through this little pullback area here. But for now, I think we're going to see a little bit of a push up higher. All right, let's move on. Flip over to gold. 1 sec. All right, and back. Yeah, so we're back onto gold here. And again, look, if we recap the weekend view, this is kind of where we were. We said, look, a bit of a push up early, Asia. This is a body fill, okay? So I've covered this a couple of times. Whereas you see these large drop down candles, they make great targets. Look at this. That's your large drop down candle. Don't disregard this first one here, but say that's your large drop down candle. That's where it's hit. Large drop down candle, disregard the first one. Body fill, that's where it hit. So it's something that's sort of, I mean, apart from the fact that they're obviously charging through and going up, 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 up. But as these things pull back and you see these large drops downs here, the bounce of these things, that's a very good sort of thing. And this works on a lot of time frames as well, which, if you're trying to sort of catch these sort of sharp moves down, you may have to hold a little bit. This is on 1 hour here. That's not too long, I suppose. But, they're good targets for trying to catch those swings, particularly sort of obviously if it's moving down a little bit more like this. All right. Anyway, that's where we're at with gold. Well, that's not where we're at. That's just an interesting little thing with the charts. But gold, it's come back down. If we zoom back out onto the 4 hour, we can see one of these sort of previous areas that we had sort of marked out. It's sort of come back down here. It's found some support just in line with this little area through here. It's not a significant level, the sort of 26, 25. It was just a little bit of a sort of a, what I mean, well, a little bit of a range, I suppose, on the way up. But the main sort of picture with this was this sort of rising resistance that we had marked out up here. And this is why I've been shorting gold through the end of last week, through yesterday. I'm clear and out of positions at the moment because I think, excuse me, it could go two ways here. It could certainly sort of come back up and revisit the highs over here. It's back within this kind of like area. I do believe there may be a little bit of a push up and then a little bit of a further down. So I'm reluctant to really sort of take sides at the moment. I have charted this on something else, and if we sort of pull this, put it onto the 1 hour, we do seem to be sort of forming some sort of a bit of a channel through here. So I'm just trying to mash it up with another chart that I so if this is our top and here, um, this is why I'm a little bit reluctant to take sides at the moment because yes, we're pulling back, but this seems to be lining up pretty well with an idea of a bit of a channel. So I would say that sort of potentially we could start to put in a little bit of a range through here, a little bit of a sort of a zone, and call that our little support area. But if we go above this area here, so above 42, I think we're going to run into trouble at say 52. We've got the top side of this channel through here, and we've also got this previous horizontal. And this is what I was saying, sort of like, when we're up over here, this is what I look for, these setups like this for gold tops. There's two types of gold tops, in my opinion. One being that absolute screaming wick that we had last year where it went 45, $50 in 15 minutes or something, and then, the subsequent sell-off was $150 a couple of weeks later. But the other one is this, where we have a defined level where it goes bang, 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 bang. And if you have a look at the videos around, this area, 24th, 25th, 26th of December, Jesus, of September, um, you'll see me saying, and this is the kind of thing we look for. Remember, if we go back here. I need to sort of highlight this better so I can sort of find it quicker. That's right there. This is the kind of area that I sort of referenced with it, was that, this was the highs that we had, and this was an all-time high at the time, up to 2450. And see, this wasn't a one move screaming top, but it defined that level, defined the level, defined the level, defined the level, and then crack, bang, broke down through there. We haven't seen such a drastic sell-off, obviously, at the moment, but, and we did see that little push back up into it as it first broke down there, but we are seeing a defined level with a nice sort of little spike up the top and lower highs coming in now as it drifts down. So I think that sort of potentially we're going to sort of see, maybe we could see a little bit of a push up through here, but till we get back above, say, 53, I think that we could be looking to sell into some rallies. Now, the typical sort of thing, and I've heard this referenced by a few people, that sort of are, sort of the war efforts going on and that, gold staying elevated on that. I think I've obviously look at plays into it a little bit, but I feel that that story is way past as a driver for gold. I think the inflation story, the rates story with the US, I think that's the main thing at the moment. I think that sort of like the idea that sort of gold's running off, war fears, um, I think that's sort of like 3 months ago or whenever it was. I don't know, whenever the sort of stuff with Israel and Palestine and all that kind of stuff kicked off and that, and it was. I mean, like as the stuff happens there, you see it fly around, move around, fly around. But you look at the news now, and these guys are like charging in, and they're about to sort of do a ground invasion, and I mean, particularly literally right now. I've watched the news this morning. They're about to do a ground invasion. Gold's moving down. It's not moving up with it. It's already moved up and done all this sort of stuff here, but you see a headline and these people get bombed. You see the thing the other day where the guys had the little walkie-talkies or the pages or whatever all exploding and going off. These things aren't driving gold. You're not seeing, oh my God, wow, boom, and spike up. As I said, like they're probably at the worst point that they've been in this whole sort of conflict at the moment because they're about to go in with like tanks and a big ground invasion. I mean, remember when sort of Russia moved into Ukraine and they stormed in with tanks and that. these sort of things you see that like sort of massive rocket moves. It's not. It's not even moving in that direction. So I believe that that sort of as a driver is kind of past. I don't think the markets cared about that for a while. They cared about it for a bit. This is with the thing with the wars. Like, remember Ukraine, but the market cared about it. It did for a long time. But after a while, they go, well, look, what are we going to do? Like, have the markets defined by um, gold, sorry, by this sort of stuff like forever. Like, you know what I mean? So the market moves on and it looks for different drivers. And I do believe at the moment that the sort of, the rates and that kind of stuff is really the main driver. And we're seeing a little bit more of that reflected in the fact that DXY is pushing up, gold's pushing down. So to me, that's what I'm looking for. And when we see US dollar, the DXY, roll over, then we'll see gold move back up. But as I covered a second ago, I believe there's a little bit of upside for DXY in the sort of short to medium term. So I believe there's more downside for gold in that short to medium term. I'll be looking, as I said, back around 2600, which isn't too far off in the scheme of things, 35 bucks down there. We do have a couple of levels of sort of support that it could sort of be sort of seeing little touch ups through here. These kind of areas a little bit more, maybe not so much this middle one, a little bit, I suppose, but they're the kind of levels that I'd be looking for. And if we really sort of drag it out, we look at this main sort of fib over here. We're still up at the 23%, so we've still got a potential sort of pullback to say the 38, which is where we've got this little buy zone set up. Which could sort of give it still maintain that bullish momentum, but just offer better risk reward buys to push up through here. So yeah, I'm a bit reluctant to sort of to jump onto gold at the moment. This last drive up here, we can see this is why this is actually sort of fully undone it here, and this is probably why we found a little bit of support here. But I think sort of maybe if you want a sort of quick trade, you could sort of look for some upside moves through here. If we look at this, that's kind of the zone through there. So if you get above, say 43, maybe you could look up to say 52, 10 buck if that's the kind of thing you want for it all. I mean, 10 bucks is definitely a good trade. I mean, if you look at my trades, that's definitely what I get. But, that's kind of the direction that I think we are going to be moving till we kind of get above a close above 60, I would say. I mean, you've got a bit of a range through here, which you could call, but that kind of wasn't respected as much in this last little period here. So what I'd be more looking for is a close above, these candles here. Because as you can see, the market most recently was not allowing it to close above 60. So yeah, put there. Close above. To target the highs. I think that's a reasonable sort of plan of attack, and I think sort of anything underneath here is potentially just going to be sold into. So yeah, I mean we could see some short-term moves, but as I said, I think they will undo. That's just my feeling. I mean, this could go all the way back up here, and I could miss the boat, but that's fine. You know what? I think there's a better risk reward sort of thing with the stacked on my favor over this side over here, opposed to sort of getting into something super quick over here, where realistically I think things lining up for it a little bit more further cooling. All right, so jump across, we got Aussie, and Aussie has broken this short-term channel, which came up here, as you can see, tried to get up here, tried to close up here, and actually got a pretty good close up over here. For anybody trading that part, they could have sort of thought, well, here we go, we're moving forward. But again, look, as I said, I think DXY is going to have a little bit of a push, and I know Aussie's not part of DXY, but US dollar is kind of what I'm feeling. So this move that I thought yesterday to sort of come down here, obviously went the went the opposite direction. That's fine. The plan's still the same though. This move like this, and back to retest here, and this lines up a little bit better as well. If we sort of if I admit, because this is got that sort of confluence. Whatever, we know where we're going. This has got the confluence of this horizontal plus the bottom side of its main channel. So what I'm looking for in this area here is potentially, first of all, a break of this lower wick. So it sort of bounced back up off 69, round number, completion of this little move through here. That's fine, body fill. And now it's sort of like, it's thinking about it. It's like, okay, is it going to go higher or lower? If we get down underneath 69, look for a 30 move. So for me, I'm looking for a 30-point move down to test this area over here. We're going to get a reaction like we've got a reaction here. We see a move up, see the sellers jump back in where they had been previously, and this is going to be the crucial point here. Because if you come down through this zone over here a second time, if we go underneath 68.70, call it 68.70 there, about this area through here, whatever low this makes as it comes down here, if you go through that a second time, you're then breaking the channel and also you're putting in lower lows. So that means that we're going to get a deeper pullback. And then we're going to have to sort of evaluate where did this bounce come to, what angle, and we try to find a little channel that we can trade moving down this way. So first of all, first things first is to get down over here. I mean, look, if it just holds and charges up here, well, you know, all bets are off with that. But the fact that we've broken this little sort of short-term channel inside the main channel, for me, makes me feel that, okay, the next target is to respect the main channel, which is this one coming up through here. So this would be this kind of zone over here. You know what I mean? Because there's still sort of, you know, I mean, it's still in an uptrend, but, you know, it's broken this part. So now we're sort of looking down for the main part here. And this is why I do believe we'll see a bit of a reaction over here. And then you push up and then, and this could go in line with, if you remember what I was saying sort of 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, the video's dragged on a little bit already. If DXY hits its levels and then looks like it's faking out and then drives through a second time, this is the thing that it very much tends to line up. So, you know, again, look at the moment. So first things first, get under 69. I mean, we've just got, it's a new 4-hour candle and it's a doji in this middle area here. So, you know what I mean? This could very much just go and shoot back up over here. Look, I'm not saying anything's possible, of course. But for me at the moment, I'm looking downside moves, particularly if I'm interested once you break 69, because I think a move to 88.70 is going to be a very interesting area. And then we'll have to sort of see how we play things from there. But if we get onto the 1 hour, you can see realistically, as it shows here, yeah, I mean, you got your channel, and it failed. This is another thing as well. This is what I say about channels. You can tell when a channel's weakening when it starts to not respect it. So this indicator here was really the first time that you kind of go, okay, well, it's pulled back here. This should have continued up here like this. Bottom side, top side, bottom side, top side, bottom side. It should have gone to the top side, but it didn't. And it failed. Tried again, failed. And so that's how you sort of trade these sort of you know, channels. You don't have to wait necessarily to this point over here. I mean, if you want to sort of go in guns blazing, whatever, and you wait for the break, well, that's your area here. And these areas can definitely provide sort of little upside sort of backtest targets where we could see things sort of, if Aussie gets above 20, then you look for the break level, which is just at 30, and then a push back down. But as I said, I think the fact that it's broken this channel means that we're sort of going to eventually at least get a touch up of this 68.70. And you've got to remember, it's incredibly, like, I mean, look at how much Aussie has just been absolutely ripping up to yearly highs. You know, it's bound to have a little bit of profit taking, a little bit of a rollover down here. If it breaks this main channel, that's when you're looking to sort of hold your shorts. But at the moment, I think that sort of like, you know, these are the kind of sort of plausible levels. Even if you want to get long, you sort of look around these levels over here and then sort of see, because it could respect this channel and it could see, whoop, I guess you could use that. It could see that happen, you know, because it's still in the channel, top, bottom, top, bottom, top. And that could be our move up to 69, 69.80, 70 cents. So, yeah, there's a couple of things, but I think certainly it's got this short-term downside coming down over here. Copper. Copper was, yeah, this is a nice one yesterday. Like, so this was the plan as of the weekend. We hit the price target, which was here, and we're dribbling off. And then it had this screaming move up to the top side here. It gapped up, I think it was like 3% or something. I shorted this from like somewhere up over here, like the second candle over here. I got out in this move down here. So of course, as they do, you maybe miss the sort of bigger parts of these things sometimes. But the point was that, look, here's the massive gap. Gap's closed. It held, closed it, and then went back to what original plan was from the weekend, which was a little bit of a cooling and a pull back down over to this level over here. As you can see, look, it came very close to our price target. And this was the thing that sort of we were saying, sort of like, pull back here. We've seen some support. Let's chuck on the 4 hour, might have a better picture. Yeah, so you can see back into this area where it was resistance. We've got it marked out. This is a bit of a chop change level, this red zone through here. Broke through, hit the price target, and it's come back down. And it itself has got this nice little channel, and it's broken the channel. So, these are the things you got to look at them sort of all in conjunction with each other. It's found support, where it kind of should have in this area through here. If we, so I mean, look, there's a 3.5% move. I mean, actually, technically, it's a 4.5% move from where it opened through here. So, copper certainly it can move quickly because that's just one session as well. Oh, let's get rid of that. So this is the thing. So if we see a continued cooling and pushing down here on copper, which it could very well do. I mean, it could still sort of come back at these. If we sort of have a look at this sort of drive up here, I mean, where are we at here? If we look at the fib on this, again, we're still in very bullish area. Look, you can come back to, you could probably come a little bit lower down to this 38, lines up with these little support areas through here. But I would say potentially even back over here. Look, really sort of shake some people out a little bit and sort of come down here. These kind of things would go in line with US dollar continuation in the short term, medium term of this bounce. Aussie a little bit lower down. Or alternatively, it just rams back up here, and I've called all these things wrong. But we'll see how we go with it all. So, we've got our levels. I think if you get down underneath these lows over here, I think that sort of this is where we could be looking for 40. I'd still like to buy copper. Like I've been calling copper bottoms and that from from around this area over here. Obviously, we had our golden buy zone, which was this back test of the big channel. These channel back tests are beautiful entries. It's run quite hard. You know what I mean? It's moved up quite well over here. So if we see a little bit of a shake, a little bit of a pullback, and we can get back down to say 4.4, I wouldn't mind sort of being a buyer down this spot over here. But at the moment, we're still in very much bullish. We've just broken that little channel, the more recent one. And this is the thing. It had a nice little channel, then it went off on its own tangent. Excuse me, very steep move to the top side here. And, these really steep parts just can't hold. And so we've seen, obviously, a little bit of a break and a little bit of profit taking and cooling off coming down through there. So I've just ticked over 11 o'clock. So let's have a quick look around. We're not seeing a great deal of flood of volume. 11 o'clock can be very good sort of metal volume hour, or it can just be a bit of a nothingness hour. And at the moment, we're not seeing a great deal. Okay, finally, finish off with China because this was the one I was saying yesterday that we could see a little bit of a bounce back up here. We do have a bit of a channel that is sort of kind of forming through here, and we were down the bottom side over here. So, it obviously, when tried to go through twice there, we're seeing a lot of stuff happening over in China at the moment. Like their stock market, I think, jumped 20% through a couple of days. We see large efforts of stimulus. We've got iron ore pumping along as well. So all that stuff has really sort of helped it sort of I guess kicking back into life was, remember, down is one strength kind of thing. But seeing them, as I said, rebalance the positions here a little bit. So, look, I don't think this is anything too much to sort of worry about at the moment. I think certainly there's a lot of areas where it could potentially just sell up and just sell into something similar to this. I do think we're still coming down to 6.9, but 7, again, it's a big round number. It changed from 7 to 6 and that got down underneath. We're just seeing a little bit of a cooling and a bit of a sort of pull off from that sort of position down there. So I think this is still not too bad. Again, look, a little bit of a push up here could be healthy before a push back down here. This also goes in line with everything else that I've sort of been saying across the other markets. Finally, I'll just actually finish off with silver, because silver, again, look at this. We've got the break of the main channel. It started to form its own little channel. It found support on key down here. And this is what we were saying over the weekend, that you've got this little break, push up, and then drive down. And this is exactly stuffed around for one or two more candles, but it still did come down, and we still got that sort of drive down to the bottom side there. This, if you remember from the weekend, or if you saw the weekend, is the setup that I'm looking for, similar for Aussie, in the sense of sort of range back into it, and this little test over here for basically for the sellers to move back in. Whoop, yeah. So the sellers were here, the sellers are here, failed breakout here, sellers back in where they were previously. And if you flip across to Aussie, that's what we're looking for here. Sellers, oh wait, sorry, no, down in this level over here. Sellers, sellers, this is obviously a larger time frame, break up here, down. We want to see sellers come back in where they were previously and then drive it down, because you can see if they step back in where they were, and this does become a failed breakout, go back to silver, break, failed breakout, sellers step back in, that's the resulting action. Downside move, quite strong downside move. So if we see that play out, I think that could be offering some pretty good sort of short Aussie positions. I mean, look, end of the day, Aussie, just onto that one more says, like they still have a bullish central bank. RBA is still talking the talk. We had the sort of CPI down, but then I think it's sort of when you scratch below the surface and that, it actually isn't as rosy as they painted it out to be. But they are still moving in that direction, while the Fed in this case and all other central banks are moving in the more dovish direction. So that is still going to keep Aussie elevated. Doesn't mean Aussie's going to sort of be going back to 63 cents till that changes. And they say they're going to start cutting, which it's looking like probably I think in so maybe early Feb. They're sort of actually looking to sort of cut or potentially cut. Till we sort of see that, and it's particularly that talk of it all as well, and we get the core number down with CPI, I think that's going to keep Aussie a little bit more elevated. I think we have retail sales out either today or tomorrow as well for Aussie, so it's something to keep in mind, because obviously that if they're a little bit stronger, that's also going to bolster the Aussie. But quickly with silver here. We've got a little down channel here. We've got a horizontal. This is where we've seen sellers before. They tried to be buyers over here. You can see. So this is what I'm saying. It's the same thing every day, every week. Resistance, broke. Tried to hold it for support, broke through. So what do we expect now? We expect this to be where the sellers are again. You know what I mean? This is just where we expect them. Doesn't mean it's going to be the sort of the definite turnaround point, but means that sort of you got to respect the fact that this level has been sort of respected, time and time and time again, and it broke through. It's come back down here now. It's going to play its part as a resistance. So it means the two ways that you trade this are the fact that it'll be resistance and a continuation coming down this level over here, or if they disregard that and they break above. But even if you break above, you've got the falling resistance, you've got this other sort of horizontal through here. So really, I think till you get above, let's pull the load over here, that's where you want to sort of see silver recovery zone. And I want to see a close up above, 3180. 3180 for a close means that you just disregarded this, disregarded the falling thing, and buys are back at charge and you're going to be driving back up. But I just feel that with all this stuff, we're going to see a little bit more down before we see some up. All right, flip across. Got a bit of the news going through today. Refresh this one. So Powell talking overnight. I think that would have been that sort of driver that really got things moving. Let's have a look. Yeah, having a look at the hours and that. It was about 4 o'clock. So where was he talking? Oh no, 3:55. Yeah, 3:55. And I'll just show this quickly because I'll have a look on a different chart. If we go DXY. Only a 15-minute chart. This candle just here. No, 3:55. So this candle, these two candles here, are when Powell started talking, and you can see the reaction of the market. Bang, and really it held that little zone there. So that'll be something to just own sake for later. This is a little consolidation, so this is going to tell us if we're going to see a further move on DXY if we get a push through here. But yeah, I've got to have a look into what his comments were, because obviously that's had quite a strong reaction for the market. So yeah, let's get back onto the news. So yeah, that was Fed Powell, Chairman Powell, J Po, talking. Sorry, all right, sorry about that. So moving forward, so we've got bank holiday in China. I think they've got Golden Week or something coming up, or is that? I don't think that's this. Maybe it is. Maybe it's Golden Week in China this week. I'll have to have a little bit of a closer look on that as well. So what we've got? We've got retail sales, as I said, Aussie coming out. Maybe this is giving Aussie a little bit of a sort of a breath of life at the moment. So a higher number there means that sort of like, they're going to have to sort of have this sort of idea that they're going to be holding rates higher for longer and not in the immediate need to sort of drop them. If we get a lower number, well, that's playing into the more dovish sort of side of things and a weaker Aussie dollar. Building approvals seem to be getting expected to be sort of knocked down. Like we've got this housing problem and that, but look at these things. I mean, that's partly your reason there because there's so much red tape to get anything done. Moving forward through this, we've got CPI with Euro this evening, 7 o'clock. Pretty flat, but down, it's still ticking down. It's sort of well within their range over there. So they've really sort of kicked the goals over with that. And then overnight, 12 o'clock tonight, we got Jolts. So Jolts coming out there. And again, stronger US data is going to give US dollar a bit of a sort of a tick up. So ISM and Jolts. So if we see these numbers a little bit stronger, I'm expecting a little bit of that sort of continuation with US dollar strength in the immediate. All right, that's it from me.